ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure some of you heard about North Korea talking about preparing for war with the US. And Kim Jong un wants everything accelerated. So before I did this story, I went out and I looked at different sources, especially foreign sources, because I don't always necessarily trust news, especially about war that comes out in the US, because they'll come to the news with all kinds of biases and they prefer one side over the other and they make that very clear in the news and all that. I don't like that. To me, just report the damn news. All that other stuff we don't need. So I did check some of the foreign sources on this, and this story was out even in the foreign sources. So I took the time to mostly listen to them because, I remember the Russia Ukraine, and they were on TV every day screaming, oh, Ukraine is winning. And then we're watching Zelensky beg day in and day out for help and begging and begging and begging. And I was like, wait a minute. I've seen winners and losers in my life before. And usually when you're winning, you're not begging. And that was the dead giveaway. And then it finally came out that they were not winning. So, you know, I, I just can't. I just can't. Everything in this country is so biased, and it's not really news, but the opinion of others that's being presented out as news. That's how it is in this country. And so I did look at the other sources, and this story was there. So once I saw that, I now feel a little more confident about putting this story out. So it is said that he is preparing for war because apparently over a lot of interference that he doesn't like from America. And that's usually what America does all over the globe is interfere and try to always interject their unwanted opinion and advice, like they do here on a regular basis. We could be sitting around minding our own business and here they come with some unwanted comment or their unwanted presence. This is just the way the beast operates. So y'all, I was able to find this audio out there. I want you to listen to the audio and, just take anything that you hear from the US with a grain of salt. You know, if this is very serious, how they're going to do is come before the cameras and try to act like, oh, this is some non-threat. Well, these people got nukes just like you. And he also said, to get the nukes ready. So we are going through some major, major changes ahead. And these people do know, y'all. They know about the age of Aquarius and the shift that occurs on Earth. They're not going to tell you that, but they are fully aware of it. They are. They know changes are coming. They know their time is up. They know the wars and rumor of wars are here. And things are never going back to pre 2019 times in this country ever. So as we move ahead, especially for them, it's going to be uncharted water. America just don't have the might that it used to have at all. And that's how we're going forward. So I'm going to go ahead and play this audio for you, and I'll be right back with the rest of my commentary.
North Korea says it is preparing for war with the United States. State media reported that leader Kim Jong-un was ordering accelerated military preparations to counter what he called unprecedented confrontational moves by the U.S. Jenny Town is a senior fellow at the Stimson Center. It's a foreign affairs think tank where she directs its 38 North program that focuses on North Korea. And she's here with us to talk about all this. Jenny Town, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to mention here that we have heard similar rhetoric from North Korea before. So I have two questions about this. Why now? And how concerned should the U.S. be about this?
I mean, you're right. We have heard a lot of this, especially towards the end of the year now. I think we need to keep in mind a couple of things. One, they're doing sort of their State of the Union sort of address here at the Workers' Party meeting that's going on right now at the plenary. And wrapping up what they see as what they've accomplished for the year, what their challenges are going to be, and what their goals for the next years are going to be as well. It's important to keep that in mind. But also, the complaints that they have are pretty consistent of the way that the U.S. and South Korea have been doing back-to-back military, large-scale live-fire military exercises for months on end.
Oh.
The increase in, nuclear consultation, the things that are going on with that the North Koreans consider to be practicing war, and that they are sort of mirroring that language back to the U.S.
So that's what he meant by unprecedented confrontational moves.
Yes. So it's a lot of the more the U.S. and South Korea talk about nuclear consultation, and the nuclear exercises and things like this, the more we hear this rhetoric out of North Korea that they're sort of doing the same. If you're going to plan for this, we're going to plan for it too.
Now, how plausible is it that North Korea might have the ability to ramp up a military that poses a real threat?
Well, it definitely has the ability to ramp up. How much of a threat that really is at the end of the day, is questionable, but how much of a threat are we willing to tolerate either? The geography requires very little to be damaging, right? And so here's the question is, as they're ramping up, are they actually ramping up for war, or are they ramping up rhetoric? And I think that's a big open question these days.
So is there any scenario under which North Korea could be persuaded to give up its nuclear weapons? Or is that just wishful thinking?
Well, these days it's wishful thinking. We have crossed a line where the North Koreans see their nuclear weapons program in a very different way than they did in 2017, for instance, or even in 2018, where they were willing to negotiate about the nuclear program. The difference now is that they've enshrined it into law, as well as now a constitutional amendment mandating the continued development of WMD. So everything dealing with North Korea's nuclear program going forward is going to be that much harder. And the real challenge here is, how do you convince an insecure country to disarm? We're not preventing them from getting nuclear weapons. They have nuclear weapons. The question is how do we convince them that they're better off without nuclear weapons? And certainly the more we remind them that we could destroy them at any time, with our nuclear weapons, the harder to make that case.
That's fascinating. This is really helpful and interesting. How would you assess the progress of its nuclear program?
It's made leaps and bounds. It really did set goals. It knocked them down one by one. And now with the increased cooperation with Russia, it has the potential to do a lot more.
That's Jenny Town. She's a senior fellow at the Stimson Center. That's a foreign affairs think tank where she, as you just heard, focuses on North Korea. Jenny Town, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, you heard the audio. Well, one thing I do know, America does have a lot of enemies that they have racked up over the years. And, no matter how much this country try to make you think they are so favored, they're not. And I think we are at a point in time where if somebody feels confident they can get America, I think they would. I think they would do it, and I think they would do it without a hesitation. You know, uh, this country goes around and bullies a lot of people. And I'm not surprised that eventually there are going to be a country or some countries that will start talking like this. And, most of the relationship with North Korea has not been a good one, and America once upon a time had good relations with countries and no longer have that. A few years back when Trump was still in office, I used to pop in every now and then and watch the meetings that went on at the UN. And Nikki Haley at that time was the ambassador. And I would listen to how some of those countries would talk to her. And sometimes she would be talking in mid sentence. They would get up and walk out on her. And years ago, you would not have seen that. Even if they didn't agree with America, they would have just sat and listened. It's not like that anymore. Once upon a time, not anymore. Mm-mm-mm. So, you're going to see a lot happen. After all, this is the presidential year coming up in the US. So, you're going to see a lot of things happen. So, we shall see. We shall see. And don't be surprised if it's more than just North Korea making threats to come after the US. Y'all, please tell me what you think about this video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.